Page 219, chapter 513. Do not give the people of Dhimma the greeting first. 1102. Abu Basra al-Ghifari said, the Prophet ﷺ said, I will write to the Jews tomorrow, do not give them the greeting first. If they greet you, then respond saying, and upon you.
Right. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وعلى من تبع هداهم إلى يوم الدين أما بعد. Can we have, every time that we want to start the class, to give a date and remind me to give the date, because some of the brothers, they want to know the date of these classes which have been recorded. So we'll start with the date, which is the 14th today of Muharram, which is the new year, and the date in the other system, which is the 28th of October. Starting with the chapter, and I'm reversing back a bit just to make sure that we haven't really missed any benefit from those ahadith. باب لا يبدأ أهل الذمة بالسلام, that we don't start the people of Dhimma, whether the Christians or the Jews or any other religion. The Dhimmi, the one who is under the custody, not to start them with the salam. That is, you could start them with any other salam. You could start them with the good morning, how are you, everything, but not the salam. But the salam is going to be coming later on when you write to somebody who's a disbeliever, in a way which is, we're going to discuss it. So the Prophet of Allah said, I'm going to the Jews tomorrow, so do not start them with the salam. So this is for the Jews and other non-Muslims. You can't start them with the salam. And if they make salam to you, then say wa alaykum. If they salam to you, because usually it is the case, they say, not salam, sounds like salam, but sa'am. That's most of them. But some other scholars, which I have found as well, that they deem it fit to say wa alaykum, even if these people said assalamu alaykum. That means wa alaykum, whether it is salam, that is the proper salam, or whether it is something else to do with an insultation or saying death upon you. Salam means prophet, death upon you. Salam means peace. So whether this or that, you say wa alaykum, because we said wa alaykum even is feasible for the Muslims himself. So wa alaykum. But we said from the justice to justify and to be more of addressing the one who is saying salam rather than the one who's saying salam, to distinguish between them, we said to the one who says salam, we say wa alaykum, and the one who says salam, wa alaykum salam, because of the hadith of Abdullah ibn Abbas, as we're going to come to it inshallah. Now, then, go ahead.
1103, Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu said, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the people of the book, do not give them the greeting first. Said, constrain them to the narrowest part of the road.
And in another narration, the people of the book and the polytheist. So one narration says the people of the book, the other one says the polytheist. The word polytheist is more general than the people of the book, so it doesn't mean whether they're Christian or Jews or Magians or any other religion. Don't start them with the salam and push them. Is that what it says? Constrain. Now this is as well, we want to understand that we said before, we don't harm people. It's not really from the good to harm them. But if you are in the middle of the path, don't go to the sides in order to give respect to them, because there's no respect for the one who does not have respect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's rules. Right, so this is what it means, but we don't really go and charge against them to push them to that side, because it's not right. Now we're coming to the 514.
514, a person greeting the dhimmi with a gesture. 1104, Alqamah said, Abdullah ibn Masud radiallahu anhu used to greet the Persian grandees with a gesture.
Right, he used to give them with a gesture. It shows us that you could start the people of the non-Muslims with anything apart from the salam. Go ahead.
1105, Anas radiallahu anhu said, a Jew passed by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying, Sam, death be upon you. His companions returned the salam, peace. The Prophet ﷺ said, the Jew said, Sam, death be upon you. They took hold of the Jew who admitted it. The Prophet ﷺ said, answer him with what he said.
Take this benefit, very big benefit of this hadith. First of all, that the Jewish passed by upon the Prophet ﷺ. He said, Assam. Sounds like salam. The companions didn't notice that. They said, wa alaykum salam, because faradda ashabu salam. Now, when they have said faradda ashabu salam, ashabu, that means the companions of the Prophet of Allah, he said to them, he said that Jewish assam, death. In the Prophet of Allah, he was what? Paying attention. That's a benefit, you pay attention. If somebody you think you're in doubt, he's going to say salam or not, rather a benefit that you will pay attention. He said, Salamu alaikum. The Jewish was taken and he confessed. Is that what he says?
Yeah.
He was stopped and he seized and he was confessed. So he said, Ruddu alayhi ma qal. Return his salam as it is. I mean, say what? Wa alaykum. So this the benefit now. If he said assalamu alaykum and the companion wa alaykum assalam, would the Prophet of Allah would say, return it back? No, that's a great benefit from this hadith. Document that. That is, Prophet of Allah, if that Jewish man said assalamu alaykum and the companions had replied, that the Prophet of Allah would have never said to them, no, you should not go and he said death upon you, or you shouldn't say alaykum assalam, you should have said wa alaykum only. That is a very great hadith. This is a powerful proof. I mean, more powerful than Abdullah ibn Abbas saying, because Abdullah ibn Abbas is mawquf. This is from the Prophet. So the Prophet ﷺ, he said as-salam. So if you did not say salam, your return to the salam is no problem. Huh? Your return to the salam is no problem. Document that inshallah, and that is a great benefit. We get benefit from that. And the Prophet of Allah does not say, you should not say wa alaykum as-salam to a person saying salamu alaykum. And the understanding of Abdullah ibn Abbas is correct, but what I'm just saying, Abdullah ibn Abbas is not as strong as this. This is a powerful understanding from the hadith. Going back to 1106, please.
515. How to answer the people of the Dhimma. 1106. Abdullah bin Umar radiallahu anhuma said, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, when one of the Jews greets you, he only says, Assalamu alaikum, death be upon you, respond and upon you.
And that's another one as well. Hadith Abdullah ibn Umar says, if the Jews, they say to you, when they say salam, death, which is straight death or fast death upon you. Say, wa alaik, and upon you. So if they said assalamu alaikum, Prophet of Allah would have never said to them, say wa alaik. Now 1107. Now the contrast between 1106 and 1107 is under that chapter, which is how to return the salam of the people who are non-Muslims. Now
1107. Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma said, return the greeting to whoever it is, Jew, Christian, or Magian. This is because Allah says in Surah An-Nisa verse 6. Translation of the meaning in English: when you are greeted, then respond with a greeting better than it, or return the like of it.
So here Abdullah ibn Abbas, he says he doesn't differentiate between a Muslim and a non-Muslim in terms of the adab. So if the person says salamu alaykum, you say wa alaykum as-salam, whether he's a Muslim or a non-Muslim. But do we say wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh? No. And we're going to have later on a hadith Amir ibn Juhani, Amir ibn Uqba Juhani, and inshallah will tell us exactly you can't say wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Right, so ruddu salam, say salam, alaykum salam, but they can't say wa alaykum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. But you can see here the contrast between the two hadiths, coming to 516, 1108. Now,
516, the greeting to the assembly, which includes both Muslims and idol worshippers. 1108, Usama bin Zayd radiallahu anhu said, one day the Prophet ﷺ was riding on a donkey on a straw saddle covered by a rug from Fadak. Usama bin Zayd radiallahu anhu was riding behind him. He was on his way to visit Sa'ad bin Ubadah radiallahu anhu. He passed by a meeting which included Abdullah bin Ubay bin Sulul, and that was before the enemy of Allah announced being a Muslim. The meeting contained...
Did you say the enemy of Allah?
Yeah.
Okay, the enemy of Allah is another narration, but it's not in this narration. Go ahead.
The meeting contained a mixture of Muslims and mushriks and idol worshippers. He greeted them.
Right. This is a chapter from Imam al-Bukhari, Jazahullahu khayra. He's telling us what to do when you are passing by a group of people where they have Muslims among them, whether the Muslims are the majority or the minority, whether it's a group of kuffar, one Muslim amongst them, or a group of Muslims, one kafir amongst them, it doesn't matter. Or they are 50-50. So what do you do? Jazakallahu khayran ya Imam al-Bukhari. He's coming to the hadith of Usama ibn Zayd. He said that the Prophet ﷺ, he rode upon a donkey. To show you that even the Prophet of Allah rides upon a donkey. Because some people, they deem it to be a humiliation, isn't it? To go on top of a donkey. It's like, you're going in an old banger car. It's not really like turbo, like a horse. MashaAllah. Isn't it? So, he goes on a donkey. Prophet of Allah, the head of the state. Can you imagine the head of a state going on a donkey these days? Come on, tell me. Show me. Unless he wants to make a fun of himself. Donkey. The Prophet ﷺ rode upon a donkey. Alayhi ikaf. The ikaf is like the saddle for the horse. Fadakiyya, it's Fadakiyya from Fadak, from the land. Land of Fadak. قال وأردف أسامة بن زيد. You remember the land of Fadak, which the Prophet ﷺ, he had land for it, and Fatima claimed for it after the death of the Prophet ﷺ, and the Prophet ﷺ, Khalifa Abu Bakr, he said, prophets cannot bequeath. He didn't give it to her. وَأَرْضَفَ أُسَامَ. So he could really put two people upon the donkey as long as the donkey can what? Carry him. So two people here, Usama ibn Zayd and the Prophet of Allah on one donkey. And the donkey, he's really a person, an animal that could carry a lot. Subhanallah. I have seen a fight between a camel and a donkey. I realize definitely the donkey is a donkey. Meaning that the way he acts. Now the camel is so huge and the donkey is so small. And the camel, grabbed the donkey from the back. Okay? And he held him up. And the donkey managed to get away from the camel. But still he wants to fight back. And the difference between the height is so huge. I can't believe that. I said, he's a donkey, definitely. And he kept in the battle for about 20 minutes, 15 minutes. Still doesn't want to let go. You grab me, I'm going to do the same thing to you. He's grabbing the camel from... So, two people on the donkey. Prophet ﷺ and Usama ibn Zayd. They came to visit Sa'd ibn Ubadah. That visit the person who is ill. You could come to the visit to somebody by riding, whether in a car or an animal. Then he passed by a city, a gathering. And in this gathering, there was Abdullah ibn Ubay ibn Salul, and in the narration he says, the enemy of Allah. He lumped it here with the translation. And he is the head of the hypocrites. It says here, before Abdullah embraces Islam, he says what? Apparently, not inwardly. That means this is when he was not declaring Islam apparently, but inside himself he stayed a kafir, didn't change. So there was he said, fil majlisi akhlaq, means mixture of people. Muslims and non-Muslims. Muslims are idol worshippers, idolaters. فَسَلَّمَ عَلَيْهِ. He passed salutation upon them. Imam al-Nawawi says there is ijma', consensus, that if you pass by a group of people, they include a Muslim or more, and the rest are non-Muslims, yet it is permissible for you to say salam. That's ijma'. So that is, if you pass by a group of people, regardless how many they were, and regardless how many Muslims are there, whether they're one or more, then you say Assalamu alaikum. And no problem about that. Say Assalamu alaikum. And Imam Ahmad adds, that is, with your intention, you intend that the salam is for the Muslims. So Imam Ahmad adds to that with the intention that when you say Assalamu alaikum to a group of people, disbelievers amongst them believers, you intend with that salam to what target? The Muslims, because you cannot start the non-Muslims with Assalamu alaikum. You could start them with anything apart from Assalamu alaikum. But the return, alaikum assalam, is no problem. This hadith was narrated in a different narrations as well. It says that when the Prophet of Allah passed by the gathering where Abdullah ibn Ubay ibn Salul, he was there, it was said to the Prophet of Allah, he said, if you come to Abdullah ibn Ubay, so he went to him and he rode the donkey, and the Muslimun, they went as well to the land, and it was land which has got mud into it. So when the Prophet ﷺ came to him, so this hypocrite, the greatest of all hypocrites, before he embraced Islam, he says, go away from me, for verily the stinking smell of your donkey had harmed me. This enemy of Allah is saying to the Prophet of Allah, go away from me, for verily the stinking smell of your donkey had harmed me. So a man from the Ansar, he said, by Allah, the smell of the donkey of the Prophet of Allah is better than your smell. By Allah, the smell of the donkey, the Prophet of Allah is better than your smell. So somebody he had been enraged, or somebody got upset or annoyed for the sake of Abdullah ibn Ubay ibn Salul. And another one, he was annoyed because of that companion. So there were two groups here. One with the Prophet of Allah and one with Abdullah ibn Ubay ibn Salul. Now coming to the same, which is the rest of the hadith is the same. For in the people there are there mixture. Muslims and non-Muslims. The Prophet ﷺ said, Assalamu alaikum, passing the salutation. So this is, alhamdulillah, to show us that you say Assalamu alaikum even if the group of people, for example, are a mixture between, for example, Ahlul Bid'ah and Ahlul Sunnah. It's a mixture. What about if Ahlul Bid'ah? No, I don't start them salam. Do you understand that? I treat them, I don't say salam to them. Ahlul Bid'ah. What about if it's a person from the people of the sinners? That depends. Oh, verily, you remember Ka'ab ibn Malik. Companions left him. It's not because of innovation, because of a sin. Prophet of Allah commanded for all of them to boycott him. Yes? Hilal ibn Rabi'ah. So all of these three of them, companions, they were boycotted by the Prophet's companion because of a sin. But as I said, the sinner, you could say salam to them. Some of the scholars deemed it not to be fit to say salam to the people who are drunkards. They are drinking alcohol. While they're drinking, you can't say salam to them. But as I said, that depends as well. Which time? You have to weigh and balance it. Maybe those people, you said salam to them, they will get them what? Closer to the Islam, inshallah, leaving and abandon the alcohol. Right. Coming to the following hadith, that is 5117, the chapter, and 1109. Now.
517. How does one write to the people of the book? 1109. Abdullah bin Abbas radiallahu anhuma said, Heraclius, the Byzantine emperor, sent for Abu Sufyan bin Harb and asked him for the letter of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which Dihya al-Kalbi radiallahu anhu had brought to the governor of Basra. The governor had forwarded it to Heraclius, who read it. It said, In the name of Allah, the Merciful, the Compassionate, from Muhammad, the slave and messenger of Allah, to Heraclius, the chief of the Greeks. Peace be upon those who follow the guidance. I invite you to come to Islam. If you become Muslim, you will be safe and Allah will give you your reward twice over. If you turn away, then you will be guilty of the sin of your followers. And then the verse of Surah Al-Imran, verse 64.
Ya Ahl al-Kitab ta'ala.
O people of the book, come to a word which is common between you and us. That we worship none but Allah, that we associate no partner with Him. That we erect none from among ourselves lords and patrons other than Allah. If then they turn back, say, bear witness that we at least are Muslims bowing to Allah's will.
Right. This is a great hadith through which we could learn, and this is the following chapters is talking about the etiquette of writing. When you write, what do you do? How do you start? What salam do you do? So this hadith and the rest of the following chapters is to talk about what are the etiquettes of writing. And there are lots of etiquettes, mashallah. Jazakallahu khairan ya Imam Abi Abdullah. Abu Abdullah Imam Muhammad Ismail Bukhari is teaching us the manners of what to do and the etiquettes when you write to someone. Now here the chapter is when you write to the people of the book. That means to the non-Muslims. And this is those letters were written by the Prophet of Allah during the time of the truce that took place after Hudaybiyah. Prophet of Allah, he secured now the war against Quraysh. There's no war. He made the covenant, even though it sounds humiliating covenant and a truce. But the Prophet of Allah, he knows it's a victory because it gives him time now to concentrate on what? Calling other people to Islam. So here Abu Sufyan, he's talking to Abdullah and talking to the companions. Talking to not Abdullah ibn Abbas, other companions. He talked to Al-Abbas radiallahu. His friend is Al-Abbas, his father. And Abdullah is talking from him as well. So Abu Sufyan, he said to him, verily, this is before he embraced Islam. He said, when the Prophet of Allah sent his letters to the monarchs and the kings. One of them was sent to the one who is a leader of Busra, which is a province in the Romans. So he sent that letter, and it happens to be that Hercules, not Hercules, Hercules. Hercules is different from Hercules. You know that? Okay. Hercules is the king of Rome. Hercules is the Greek myth. Do you understand that? Yeah. Hercules is the king, and Hercules is the Greek myth. Greek myth, which is the Greek god. Yeah? Yeah. Well, in Arabic it's better. Okay, Herakl. So he's Hercules, huh? Hercules. So Hercules, let me write that down, please. Are you sure? Hercules. Apply in English. Hercules. Herculcu. No? Las. Anybody can just come here? AC. No, there's something between the C and the U. Because he said Hercules. But there's between the C and the L, there's something. CL straight away? IUS.
This is the king, isn't it?
Hercules, the king.
Yeah.
Right, okay. So when the letter was sent to the great man of Busra, Hercules, king of Rome, happens to be making Hajj, pilgrimage, in that area, in the Sham, going to Jerusalem. So he happened to be passing by there. So the king of Busra, he sent it to his king, that is the great man, Hercules, the king of Rome, the Byzantine king. So as soon as he took the letter, he read it. And we're going to talk about now the letter, inshallah, in a minute. But we're going to talk about something which is not in here in the narration. The king, he said, is there any people from that man he claims to be a prophet around in this area? So he said, they brought me. They brought me. And I was summoned before the king. And the king asked for people from Quraysh to be behind me. And he said to his interpreter, because he doesn't speak the language, I'm going to ask him questions, okay? And I want, if he answers wrongly, he lies, let the other people say that behind him what? That he lied. Abu Sufyan, he said, had it been that I will lose my reputation as a truthful man, I would have lied. But he doesn't want to, and because as well there's people behind. Those people they know, they think Abu Sufyan is a great man, and a person cannot really tarnish his reputation. So if he's going to say a lie, these people are going to go back and, oh, he's a liar. He can't, afford to do that. So he said, he asked me the following question, and I call it the flow chart questions. He says, a king is not a normal person, he's a king. And he's asking the question, yes, this question, no, that question. And they're going to arrive to the conclusion. So he's going to question him about, is he a prophet or is he not a prophet? The king of Rome. So he said, he asked him, this man that he's claimed to be a prophet, does he come from a noble lineage or come from nothing? Like from for example, fornication or not known? He said, no, his lineage is known. And he's noble lineage, we know it. Did this person have any in his lineage, in his tribe, called to be a prophet? So Abu Sufyan, he says, no. Did anybody in his tribe called to be a king, want to be a king? He said, no. If I'm going to have now a timetable, I'm going to have here the Prophet ﷺ, and underneath here, for and against, according to Abu Sufyan, in the favor of the Prophet and against the Prophet. Okay? So I'm going to put ticks now, according to Abu Sufyan's mentality at that time, radiallahu anhu. So when the king asked him, does he come from a noble lineage? So Abu Sufyan, he said, yes. So according to Abu Sufyan, oh, this is against me. So tick, this is for the Prophet. Not tick for the against the Prophet. Tick for the Prophet. Second question, did anybody claim to be a prophet in his tribe? He said no. He believes, I believe, that's against the Prophet because he doesn't come from a lineage where there's prophets. Tick. Got him now. Third question, did anybody claim to be a king in his tribe? No. So he's nothing. How can he be claimed a prophet? So it is against the Prophet. So he got 2 ticks against 1 tick. Third one. So he says to him, the Prophet that he said, does he lie? Has you ever seen him lying? He says, no, we always seen that he's truthful. So it's a tick for the Prophet. He got 2 ticks, 2 ticks. According to Abu Sufyan radiallahu anhu. Now after that the question says to him, verily those people who follow him are the ones from the high position people or the weak people? No, it's only the weak people. Abu Sufyan says. There's a tick against the Prophet. It's got 3 ticks now against the Prophet, 2 ticks for the Prophet. Did you fight him? He says, yeah, well, they fought him. All right. So was it winning against what did you lose? He said, sometimes we win, sometimes we lose. And that is according to Abu Sufyan, a tick against the Prophet. So I got 4 ticks against 2 ticks. Why? Because he thinks and believes that only the Prophet has to be what? Mighty, supernaturals. They have to win all the time. Right? So he asked him, verily, did he betray? Did he, for example, make a covenant he betrayed? So Abu Sufyan said, this is the only chance for me to lie. It's not to lie, to say something that... He said, well, not yet. Look at that. Not yet. We are on truce with him, but he did not betray. Not yet. To give a hint, maybe he will. Subhanallah. After all of that questions, he said to him, right, what does he call to? He said he calls to the worshipping of God alone. He said, if you are saying what you are saying is right, then he is going to rule the land underneath my feet. And if I was with you, if I was with yourself, I'm going to go and wash underneath his feet. Wash underneath his feet, or wash his feet. This is what he says. And verily I would be a follower of his. But that's when the Romans behind him, oh yeah, no, House of Commons exactly, what are you talking about? Don't agree. You know the sound. You don't like what happens. Yeah. So that is why, but he believed he's a prophet. Abu Sufyan, when he left, he said, لَقَدْ عَظُمَ أَمْرُ Ibn Abi Kabsha, the son of Ibn Abi Kabsha. Kabsha, you know, is the grandfather of the Prophet. From the mother's side, we always attribute the Prophet to him just to demean him or ridicule him. Even the king of Rome is scared of him. Abu Sufyan said that before he raised his hand. Even the king of Rome is scared of him. Right, now here Abu Sufyan radiallahu anhu narrates to us what happened, that letter. What was it saying? Right. Now, the Prophet ﷺ, he had called for a letter and he sent it with Dihya al-Kalbi. And Abu Sufyan doesn't know because he was not there when the Prophet wrote the letter. He was not there when he called Dihya al-Kalbi. It must have been said to him. Radiallahu anhu warḍah. And he sent it to Azim Busra. So Azim Busra, he gave it to Herakl. He was there at that time. And it was interpreted for him. In that letter, and this is the letter, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So from the etiquette of writing to anyone is to say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. And Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim is a what? It's a verse. So no problem to send the verse of Quran to those people who are what? Who are disbelievers. And those disbelievers, you can't ask them, go and have a wash before you touch that letter. And it's no problem because if it's, if it's 1 verse, 2 verse, 1 surah, 2 surah, it does not mean it's Quran. So there's a difference between the Quran or a letter, it's got 5, 6 surahs. That's different. That's the Quran, and that is different. That one, for all to touch the Quran, we said it's better to be what? And some of the scholars say it seems to be must, which we say it is a must because of hadith Abi Bakr radiallahu anhu. Don't touch it unless you are fully pure. Will wudu. So, but sending a book or a letter with 1 or 2, 3 verses to a disbeliever is no problem. What about the whole of the Quran? You know that the scholars, they differ regarding carrying the Quran to the land of war. Not to the enemies, to the land of war. And that they say that maybe the enemies will take the Quran and humiliate it. That was at that time. But these days, the Quran can be downloaded from any internet. Can be printed in anywhere. So it's not big at that time of the Prophet ﷺ. The Quran is everywhere. So you can't just say to a disbeliever, I'm not going to give you the Quran. Because you could go out, have it from anywhere. Do you understand that? It's not really something that's a difficult task. Plus, if you believe that that person is going to learn from the Quran, so you give him the Quran according to what he reads. If he's Arab, give him an Arabic Quran. If he's English, you give him what? English Quran. English translation of the Quran. He doesn't need to have the Arabic one. And definitely the translation of the Quran is not the Quran. So he said, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So here we say, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In contrast, when we start our food, coming to the toilet, we say what? Bismillah. But here, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. And it's a verse. It's a verse from every surah, or save the Surah At-Tawbah. But there is a verse as well inside the surah, Surah Al-Naml. وَإِنَّهُ مِن سُلَيْمَانَ وَإِنَّهُ بِسْمِ اللَّهِ الرَّحْمَنِ الرَّحِيمِ. طيب. From Muhammad ibn Abdullah. From Muhammad ibn Abdullah. This letter is from Muhammad ibn Abdullah. Now, learn number 1, that is, the scholars differed. Which is better, to start with yourself, that's from you to him, to say, or to start from the person, this is to you from me. And that's an etiquette, a difference among the scholars. Which one is right? Both is to be correct. But the Prophet of Allah started with himself. Because we do have other letters, when it was written, they were saying from to so-and-so from me. But here the Prophet of Allah said, from me to. And he says Muhammad ibn Abdullah. The Prophet of Allah, when he sent that letter, he is the Prophet and he is the one? The head of the state. Where is those titles? Doesn't exist. He didn't say, for example, Muhammad, the only prophet and the last prophet. He said Muhammad, Abdullahi wa Rasulih. Start with what? The slave of Allah. And his messenger. Abdullahi wa Rasulih. And that is to humble himself. So he's not sending a letter to show you that he's on top of him. I'm just humbling himself. Muhammad, Abdullah, slave of Allah. And this is a prophet, Rasulullah. And he did not say the head of the state, of the Islamic state. Or from the majesty of such and such to majesty such and, he didn't say that. Muhammad Abdullah. This is the humbleness. This is as well from the etiquette of calling the people to the deen. In a way to call. Then he says, Ila Hiraql. 2, and then Azim al-Rum. Another narration, Malik al-Rum. And that's as well an etiquette, we'll learn it. Azim. Azim, he is the what? The great king of Rome. So he said to him, Azim. He did not say Al-Azim in general. He had limited that. He said, he is the great of Rome. He didn't say the great. Okay? You can't do that to say that to somebody who's a disbeliever. The great. No. Azim al-Rum, no problem. And this is to bring or reconcile his heart, soften his heart. And he's calling Ila Azim al-Rum. And the whole chapter is because of the following verse, or the following statement. Salamun ala man ittaba' al-huda. Peace be upon the one who had followed guidance. So this is the whole chapter because of this. How do you write to the people of the book? Now, how do you start them with a salam? Now he started with a salam, the Prophet of Allah, isn't he? He said salam. But this is not assalamu alaikum. This is salam. Number 2. Ala man ittaba al-huda. Peace be upon the one who followed the guidance, the Islam, the haqq. He's not included. Salamun ala man ittaba al-huda. Now you cannot use that, okay, to a group of people you're coming to. This is what the people mix up. This is in the letter. In a group of people, if they are Muslims mixed with non-Muslims, Assalamu alaikum. If they are non-Muslims, you could start them with anything you like except for what? Assalamu alaikum. But you don't say Assalamu ala man ittaba al-huda. You say, for example, good morning, good evening, how are you? Are you okay? Hello, no problem. But you can't say Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu ala man ittaba al-huda. Salamun ala man ittaba al-huda. This is when you write to somebody who is a disbeliever. We learned this, and he says, Amma ba'd. He says, well, after you have showed, you say, Amma ba'd in the letter. That is, what do you say in Amma ba'd in English? To proceed, yeah, to proceed. Amma ba'd. فَإِنِّي أَدْعُوكَ بِدِعَايَةِ الْإِسْلَامِ. This is the general statement that summarizes the whole of the letter. You start straight away, what is the letter is about? You don't start going to a twist and a twist and a twist. What is the title? And this is as well something to learn from the Khatib. When he gives his khutbah, you know, some of the people start listening and he doesn't know what is the khutbah is all about. Until the last minute, when the Khatib says, Assalamu alaikum, he knows, oh, the title is about riba. He didn't know. Because so mixed up, he doesn't know what is the khutbah is all about. But when the person knows what is the khutbah about, he will concentrate. And he himself will start preparing in his mind all the ayat and the ahadith which he knows about the riba. So if the person is quoting them, it comes from his what? Memory as well. So it will synchronizes and it will be better than the person doesn't know what he's talking about. What is he going to talk about? So Prophet Allah said, أَدْعُوكَ بِدَعَاتِ الْإِسْلَامِ. Call into Islam. I call you with a call to Islam. Aslim taslam. Embrace Islam and you will have salama. Salama. You will be salama, that means you will be safe from everything. Safe from the shirk, safe from the kufr. Taslim taslam. It's not a threatening. It's not a threat. Aslim taslam, that means we will, otherwise we'll kill you. It doesn't mean it. Embrace Islam and you will be safe against all this kufr, shirk. يُؤْتِكَ اللَّهُ أَجْرَكَ مَرَّتَيْنِ. Allah will bring you your reward twice. What does that mean? Total two interpretation. Interpretation number one, that Allah will give you your reward twice because of the hadith. The Prophet said there are three people whom Allah will give them their reward twice. A person who was a believer in his Prophet and then he believed in Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This hadith will pass with us. It passed a long time in the book, we discussed it. So from those people who receive their reward double is the one who had believed in Isa alayhi salam and then believed in Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He believed in Musa alayhi salam, a Jewish, believed in Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He will get the double. Second interpretation of this is that this person, because he embraces Islam, lots of people will follow. He's the king of Rome. And he will get the double reward. But he will get more than double reward. But the first interpretation is more correct. That he will be from those, because he is from the people of the book. And the Prophet of Allah, when he sent letters to the ones who are like the Magian, the fire worshipper, he did not say that. Because the fire worshipper does not believe in what? In a prophet. He does not. He believes in himself. So this is for the people of the book, and this strengthens the saying, and this is what the meaning it meant. فَإِن تَوَلَّيْتَ. If you disbelieve, if you did not follow, if you do not listen, what happened? You're gonna bear the sin of the Arisiyin. Arisiyin, we do have a number of interpretations for that. The one which is the best one is that the farmers. What does that mean, the farmers? The farmers is followers, regardless. So you're gonna have those people who are following you, you're going to have all the sins, that you're going to bear all the sins because they did not embrace Islam. Because if you blocked them from embracing Islam. So if you did not embrace Islam, you're going to be as well a hindrance for those people not to embrace Islam because they look at you. So those people who are kings, those people who are in position, they have to make sure that they are in charge. And if you are in charge, you're going to bear the consequences. If it is good, you're going to have the good of other people as well. If it's bad, you're going to bear that as well. And that is why we say in Arabic, غلطة الشيخ بألف غلطة. The sheikh mistake is counted equivalent to 1,000 mistake. You know why? Because if he makes a mistake, all the people who follow will make the same mistake. So the Shaykh, when he makes a mistake, big mistake. It's not like another person. Same thing when the person is positioned. Imam Ahmad, when he was asked to say the Quran is makhluk, created, he said to his student, Abu Bakr al-Marudi, the people, what are they doing outside? He said they are holding their pens and their scrolls to write what you're going to say. All his colleagues from the scholars, all of them given up. They've given up to the Mu'tasim, they've given up to the Ma'mun, they've given up. They said the Quran makhluk because they couldn't bear the punishment. But Imam Ahmad, he said to him, come on, Hadith Ammar ibn Yasir. Ammar ibn Yasir, he given up. Ammar ibn Yasir, he swore against the Prophet of Allah to say it himself, because he saw his mother and father were slain in front of him. So he said, what are you going to do regarding the Hadith of Khabbab ibn al-Arat? What are you going to do regarding the Hadith? Khabbab, who said that the Prophet ﷺ, he said, when he was in the shade of the Kaaba, Khabbab, he came, Messenger of Allah, can't you see what we are in? Torture and persecution. Can't you just ask Allah to help us? Can you ask Allah to give us help? Prophet of Allah, he said, verily the people will be before you used to be tested for their religion. A pit will be dug for them, and the person will be put into that pit, into that ditch. And then the soul will come, and they will be put into the middle of the head, and they will be cut in two halves. An iron comb will come and will comb their flesh away from their bones. All of that will not take them away from their religion. So Imam Ahmad is saying, this hadith, where are you going to go away from it? Those people did not say what? They did not give in. They did not give in for that. So how can I do that? He said, I'd like to die rather than to what? To misguide these people. So he said, no, Al-Quran not makhluk. He stood firm. And as I said, Imam Ahmad, if he said Quran makhluk, we don't know, we're going to be into house, Mu'tazila, we don't know about us. And that is why all the scholars like Ali ibn Yazid and others, they said, verily, had it, Al-Madini, rahimahullah, he said, verily, had it been for Imam Ahmad, people would have been lost. They said, what about Abu Bakr? He said, Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, he had helpers. He had Umar al-Khattab, Uthman and Ali. But Ahmad, he was on his own. Nobody helped him. So that is why Imam Ahmad, he stood firm in the mihnah, rahimahullah. And that is why he is Imam Ahlul Sunnah without any competition. So here we say that this king is in a position that if he embraces Islam, lots of people will embrace Islam because the women will take as well the same reward for them. And if he did not, then he will block them from saying the kalima. So he said, Ya Ahl al-Kitab, which is the ayah, قُلْ يَا أَهْلَ الْكِتَابِ تَعَالَوْا إِلَى كَلِمَةٍ سَوَى. O people of book, come to a word common between us. أَلَّا نَعْبُدَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. That is to worship none except for Allah alone. وَلَا نُشْرِكَ بِهِ شَيْءٍ. And do not associate anything in his worship. وَلَا يَتَّخِذَ بَعْضُنَا بَعْضًا أَرْبَابًا مِنْ دُونِ اللَّهِ. And not to take ourselves gods beside Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فَإِن تَوَلَّوْا, if they did not follow, فَقُولُوا اشْهَدُوا بِأَنَّا مُسْلِمُونَ. Say to them, we bear witness that we are Muslims. Right. Now, as I said, this is hadith which is a mighty hadith. We learn from it a lot. We learn from it that before we initiate or trigger a fight, we need to tell them. We cannot fight kuffar without calling to the deen. You can't. You have to tell them. Also, even if they had known about Islam, it is recommended for us to tell them again. This is the deen. But if they allowed us in their country to call for Islam, it's no problem. Alhamdulillah. But if they did not allow us, then the Muslims countries had to, make a war. Why? Because they have to give light for those who are in that state, which are non-Muslims, to have the opportunity to listen to the deen. But if any country had, truce with the Muslim countries, no problem, as long as they allow the free call to deen. No problem about that. Also, we learn from this hadith that one person is enough to deliver the message. Who is that person now? Dihya al-Kalbi. It's not, for example, Herakli said, no, one person is not enough. Bring mutawatir, please. I want number of companions to come, then order for. Do you understand that? One person. And this is what some of the partisans who have become deviated, when they, for example, don't believe in the punishment of the grave because they say, oh, it's not mutawatir. Subhanallah. Or regarding the seeing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the hereafter, they say it's not mutawatir. It is mutawatir. If it's not mutawatir lafzi, mutawatir ma'nawi. These two tawatur. Tawatur lafzi, tawatur ma'nawi. And this is from our aqidah. We believe in that. Punishment of the grave and believe as well seeing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the hereafter. وجوه يومئذ ناظرة إلى ربها ناظرة. And the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, when the Kaaba had directions changed, he sent one man to the companions who were in Quba, in that place, in that area, close. And he said to them that the Qibla is being changed. None of them said, you're not enough, bring us more. Do you understand why? Because I'm saying this, because some of the people that don't believe in the punishment, it came from one person, it did not come from one. It came from more than one person, but I'm just saying. The khabar, if you are a person trustworthy, trustworthiness is being accepted. We don't really go and bring another person to go and couple it. And how to demolish this argument? Okay, you said you have to bring such and such. Number one, how many? Number two, if you said how many, bring me the how many number in order to prove that many. Did you understand that? So if you said 10 people, bring me now 10 companions who had said that you have to bring 10 narrations in order to take that into aqidah. And accept that. And there isn't any. Knock out. Right. Also, we learn from this, that is, we started with the basmala, which we have said, alhamdulillah. I'm just trying to as well to what I have said and to couple it with what the Shaykh here had said. Yes, the letter in itself, I forgot to say that. The letter, have you seen how short it is? It's to the point. Imagine it's a long letter. The person will not even read it. That's what I tell the brothers. When you send questions as well, make them what? Short. If I see the question about 3-4 pages, I'm not going to even read it. It's too much. Because by the time I finish, so I go to the end of it, I will forget already the beginning of it. So make it short. Letter is short. And that is, all that letter is about 4 or 5 lines, and that's it. That's what you need from him. He didn't say to him, now the details, you have to do the 5 daily prayers, you have to do the zakah, because he hasn't really embraced Islam yet. Let him embrace Islam and then I'll tell him all of that. Right. Also, so we said, if a person, he knows he himself is in a position where he's going to be affecting lots of people, he needs to be careful about what he says and what he does. Right, I think I've done all of it, alhamdulillah. Inshallah, 518. Go ahead.
518. When the people of the book say, Assalamu alaikum, death be upon you. 1110.
This hadith we have said it before, but read it.
Jabir radiallahu anhu said, some of the Jews greeted the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying, Assalamu alaikum, death be upon you. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam responded, and upon you. Aisha radiallahu anha said angrily, didn't you hear what they said? Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam replied, yes. And I answered them, we will be answered for what we said of them, and they will not be answered for what they said of us.
Hadith 311, we have discussed it. 311. Right, we discussed that. Right, 457, 519.
519, the people of the book are forced to the narrowest part
is exactly, or Hadith 1103. So we said, that is, if you are in the path, in the middle path, don't go away from that for the sake of respecting a person who is a non-believer. That's what it means. It's an Islamic state. Right? 520?
520, how to
last hadith, inshallah.
520, how to make supplication for a dhimmi.
112.
Abu Amir al-Shaybani said, Uqba bin Amir al-Juhani passed by a man who looked like a Muslim who greeted him, and Uqba answered him, saying, and upon you and the mercy of Allah and His blessings. The servant said to him, he is a Christian. Uqba rose and followed the man until he caught up with him. He said, mercy of Allah and His blessings are for the believers, but may Allah make your life long and give you much wealth and many children.
Subhanallah. Uqba ibn Amir al-Juhani, the great companion, he said, he passed by a man who looks like a Muslim, and he had salam, passed salutation. So when he passed salutation, Salamu alaikum, maybe he said Salamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. No, he should make pass salutation. So Uqba, the companion, said, wa alayka as-salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. He said, wa alayka, whatever he said, and wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The boy, which is his servant, he said, he is a Christian. Straight away Uqba followed him. And he said to him, verily the mercy of Allah and the blessings of Allah is only exclusively for the believer. But may Allah prolong your life and give you money, wealth and children. We learn from this also a lot. Number one, it is right and true that why Umar al-Khattab, he commanded the Jews and the Christians to be dressed in their own clothes, to be distinguished from what? The Muslims. It's rightly so. Umar al-Khattab radiallahu anhu. So the Jews had to put their, the what is it called, the cap, skull cap? Yeah, the skull cap, in order to be distinguished. Then you will know whether to say Salamu alaikum or not. So here, that he passed by the Muslims, by Uqba, he thought he's a Muslim. That's why he said to him, wa alayka as-salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. But if he knew he's not a Muslim, he said, wa alayka as-salam. Or wa alayk. Number two, that is, he said, wa alayka as-salam wa rahmatullah, is he returned the salutation, or he added. Because the Prophet, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَرُدُّ بِأَحْسَنَ مِنْهَا, make it better, or at least similar to it. So if either the person, he said Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, or he said Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, and this person said wa alayka wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Also the boy, he is so clever, he is paying attention. So he's saying to him straight away, there's a mistake, he was a Christian. Straight away he didn't let it go. Christian, had to point that out. Now, he's not going to pull away from the rahmah. The rahmah is not going to go to him whether he said it or not. But he wants to teach the Christian, could be according to Islam as well. He said to him, well, verily, the rahmatullah wa barakatuh is only in the believer. And you're not a believer. Even you are a believer in your book, Christianity, but you're not a proper believer in Allah, the Almighty subhanahu wa ta'ala, with the undistorted image of Allah. So he said the mercy of Allah and the barakatuh is only for the believer. But no problem. He made him supplications. You could make supplication to the disbeliever in this following way. May Allah prolong your life, as long as he's not an enemy. You could be a disbeliever, but if he's a disbeliever, half of disbeliever, you can't say, may Allah prolong your life. So if Fir'aun say to you, you say to him, may Allah prolong your life? No, we don't want him to prolong your life. We want him to be killed. Because Fir'aun, a'udhu billah, torture. We're going to come to the following one where Fir'aun, if he said something barakah, say barakah. وَلَكِنْ أَطَهَ اللَّهُ حَيَاتَكَ, and may Allah increase your money, your wealth, and your children. And this is how when we as well go to the funeral, not go to the funeral, if somebody from the Christians or the Muslim, non-Muslim had died, you could say any word to comfort him except for saying, that is, having mercy upon him. You can't say, لِلَّهِ مَا أَخَذَ وَلِلَّهِ مَا أَعْطَى وَكُلَّ شَيْءٍ عِنْدَهُ فَلْتَصْبِرْ تَحْتَسِبْ. And you could say, may Allah have mercy upon him, but you could say, أَحْسَنَ اللَّهُ عَسَاكَ. May Allah make your, may Allah comfort you in your funeral, in your calamity. May Allah guide you, no problem. Abdullah ibn Abbas, 113 please. Let me finish the chapter.
11:13. Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma said, if Pharaoh had said to me, may Allah bless you, I would have said, and you, but Pharaoh is dead.
Right. So here, it looks like that the mercy is for the believer. But the bless you here, bless you means in the dunya. Bless you in terms of giving you more money, give you barakah into your children. And that's according for guidance. But the rahmah is only for the believer. And here Abdullah ibn Abbas, he said, if Fir'aun, and he knows Fir'aun, he got chosen the worst of men, and he's not alive. If he said, Barakallahu feek, he said, oh, and feek as well. May I give you barakah. But barakah, not in a barakah where to kill people. Barakah that is to go and torture the people. Now he means like, he's saying this is the extreme example. There is no problem to say that, but rahmatullah is only for the believers. Wallahu a'lam. By this we finish. And I'm sorry, as I said, I repeat my apology for being late. Because of, by the way, there was an accident. I didn't say that. There was an accident on the road. And it delayed me from 8 o'clock to 8:34. But I made it, alhamdulillah, 8:25. Now. Fadal Uncle.
Some Christians, when I meet them, they are very, often they say three sentences or three phrases. When they meet me, they say, peace be upon you. When they leave, they say, God bless you. And when I see you, they say, God bless you. How do I answer?
Who is that? The non-Muslims? When they greet you, they say,
Peace be upon you.
you say, and peace be upon you. Is it in Arabic or in English? You say, Salamu alaikum.
No, in English.
And peace be upon you. And peace be upon you.
And when they leave, they say, God bless you.
When they leave, they say, God bless you. I've never seen any Christian. They say, bye-bye, goodbye, but God bless you. There must be Christians who are dedicated to religion, maybe. They are. Bless you. And they treat you as well as a religious cleric. And that is why they treat you that. Bless you. And you.
Yes.
So because he said, Fir'aun. I don't think they are as bad as Fir'aun. There's not even comparison. And bless you, no problem. You could say, may Allah guide you. And would they take that as an insult, or when you say, may Allah guide you?
They do take care of themselves because they say, I'm already guided.
They say, may Allah guide you more. Yeah, well, yeah, inshallah. You could say, may Allah guide us. I don't think you'll take that as an insult. Guide us. That means both together, so don't take it as an insult. Because when you say, may Allah guide you, even the Muslim, when he's, for example, enraged and in a moment where he's losing his temper, so you say, may Allah guide you. You say, no, may Allah guide you. He's enraged already. He doesn't like people saying, may Allah. You, may Allah. Yeah, well, me and you, inshallah. But he said, no. So you think that may Allah guide me, that means I'm wrong and you're right. Okay, now, further, Doctor.
So the letter to the Heraclius is, the title is People of the Book, but just to clarify, it's general to any non-Muslim, like even the people who, like Qadianis and...
No problem, say Bismillah ar-Rahman, the same thing.
And the same type of...
Salamu ala man tabi'a huda, but there is nothing to do with that if you become a Muslim, you will have your reward multiplied, because only for the people of the book. Now,
Does the letter have to be religiously related or comes up with the subject?
for whom?
For some Muslims.
For the non-Muslims? Like for example, you're sending a letter, let's say, for your electricity board. You're gonna say, Salamu ala man ittaba al-huda, aslim taslam. The Scottish Power, they sent you what? Yes, you could say at the Basmala, and also, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. But you see, the problem is, are they going to understand that or not? Okay. So if I write a letter to somebody who is for example, I know the person in that company, yeah, no problem. But a letter, for example, that my meter is being taken wrongly or something like this, I'm not going to call them to those things, because you're talking to a company which is in an official way. You're not talking to, do you understand me? According to the deen or religion. But it's a good, Jazakallah khair, good try. MashaAllah. Try it and tell me what happened. And they're going to, what are they going to, the customer service going to say to you? But you can't say to them, because you don't know who's you talking to. You could be talking to a Muslim, can't you? True or not, in the company. Could be the customer service a Muslim. So you're talking to a person who's not really, as I said, if it's a person whom you know, you're talking yes. But if it's general company, it's a company, you don't know who's you're talking to.
It's not general that you have a passport that you have to.
I see, the question is to Basmala, it's not to do with the rest of the Ta'alaw ila kalimatin sawa. I would say that the Basmala to be said in all the letters, say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Now, do you think that this Basmala is going to be humiliated? Say it in English. In the name of God, merciful, most gracious. In English. Now, because you know that Allah's word should not be, for example, stepped on over, or should not be very humiliated, it should be shredded, or burnt, or buried. Now. Fadal.
And the last hadith you mentioned, Ibn Abbas said, that the barakah to Fir'aun as well. How do you understand that he said the Rahman barakah?
As I said, the barakah has to be interpreted as the barakah in the dunya. As for example, when Uqba he said, may Allah increase your wealth, may Allah give you more children, isn't it barakah? It's barakah. So the barakah that he had exempted Uqba in there is the barakah of the religious barakah. The barakah that emerges from a belief, not the barakah that is for the dunya. So there's two barakah. Barakah in the dunya and barakah in the akhirah. And the barakah that is meant by Uqba is only for the believer. It is barakah, which is the religious part type. As for the barakah of the dunya, he himself, he said, may Allah increase your children and your wealth, and that is barakah. Now, تفضل. Off topic.
Is Torah and Injil as well not created?
Is the Torah and Injil what?
Not created.
Oh, is the Torah and the Injil not created? In the Torah and the Injil, there's two ways of interpreting the question. Either you're saying the Torah in its original form, the Ten Commandments, it's not created, the words of Allah. Or you mean the Torah, which is the Talmud these days, which is human beings being there. Yeah, Torah, it is not created. Of course, the words of Allah. All of the words of Allah. But as I said, the Torah now does not exist. There is some of the words of the Torah in the Torah, with lots of addition to it. And the other one, which is the Injil, the Gospel. The Injil is, I don't know which Injil we're talking about these days, but it's the original Injil. Yes, it's not created. Words of Allah. So we form our belief, all the books, even the Mazamir Dawood, if it's the words of Allah, it's not created. Any words of Allah is not created. Otherwise, you can say Allah created Himself. Because if He creates His words, He creates His hand or His eyes, or He creates His own that essence. That's why it's haram, shirk. That's why it's kufr, major kufr it is. When you start saying Allah creates His own attributes, that means and you end up with the statement Allah creates Himself. That's why the fight was. And Allah really says, أَلَا لَهُ الْخَلْقُ وَالْأَمْرِ. There's two things for Him. Khalq, which is the creation. And the amr is the command. And this creation came with the word kun, be. And they're all this creation. And this kun is a command. It's not a word being created by Allah. It's a command, and everything was created, but after that word, kun fayakun. Inshallah. Yes? So all of the words of Allah, not created. Is that okay?
I understand. I believe, but I don't understand.
You don't understand what? Go on, clarify.
I have a lot of lectures, everything. I said because we have
Yeah, but what is that you don't understand? So I could clarify it for you.
but about the Quran is not created.
Okay. Right. No, but listen to me.
If there are any hadith which says the Quran is not created, or it's just logical conclusion, same like other books.
Oh, no. This is a fundamental aqidah. It's nothing to do with fundamental aqidah. Listen to me now. What is coming to your mind is something to do with when I say the words of Allah. Okay, I am uttering the words of Allah. Yes? And I am a creation myself. and I create my speech. Is that what you're saying? So how can it be when I say the Quran is not creation? Is that what comes to your mind or something else?
And when I come that there was no Quran, and then it starts to be.
Very good. But there's a different, the solution is in your mind is as simple as this. Right. Was there any Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala without an eye it became an eye? Was there Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala without a foot and the foot came up afterwards? So is Allah complete and His speech with Him complete? Does that make you relax? Do you understand that? His speech is complete with Him, just like His eye, just like His hand, which you know, just like His foot, which you know. His speech is with Him. So He was speaking, and He's still speaking, and He wants to speak whatever He wants, whatever He wishes. So His speech is from Him. Do you understand that? So that just like it's part of His attributes, if you like. It's part of His attributes. So sifa, al-kalamu sifa. Okay? So you're talking about, what about He said something, He didn't create His own words? No, it's part of Him. Because when you say create, any creation has to die. So you're saying Allah's word will die. And that's why Imam Ahmad said, just make takbir al-janazah. Allahu Akbar. On the creation of the Quran is going to die. Because any creation has to go. Kullu man alayha fan. Everything is going to disappear. So if you say His creation, Allah's word will disappear as well. Allah is with Him. The words is with Him. He does not create. It's part of Him. That's the whole issue. You have to understand that. So it's just like you think. It's part of the essence. Just like Allah did not create His essence. His foot was there, His hand was there, His eyes was there, His speech was there as well. Part of Him. Now, tafadhal. And don't go deep into that. As Imam Ahmad, surrender, and don't argue, and don't debate. Don't contest and attest. Now,
Regarding when the people book say Assalamu alaikum, they say wa alaikum. What about to say rahmatullahi wa barakatuh? You say, how do you reply?
if you said Salaam alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, wa alaikum salam. Any salutation from the Christians or the Jews or any non-Muslim, he said Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, or he made a bid'ah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh wa maghfiratuh. Because you learned it from somebody, say wa alaikas salam. That's it. Wa alaikas salam. Now, Uncle, have any questions? وعليك السلام, uncle. What is the kas coming from? عليك means upon you. Yeah, ka is for you. عليك السلام, peace.
You join ka with C.
Yeah, that's how we say Arabic. وعليك السلام. It's like وعليك السلام. But we don't say وعليك السلام, we say وعليك السلام. Join together. That's how it is in Arabic. Oh yes, moon letters, yeah. We can't say moon letters, we can say al-qamariyah. No, it's not qamariyah, it's a shamsiyah. Yeah, but when we say moon, the moon doesn't work with it, but al-qamariyah, ash-shamsiyah, because al-qamar, ash-shams, the lam is idgham with it. I understood that, uncle. Jazakallah khairan for that. Right, subhanakallah bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.